And what is going on, everybody? Episode 70 of the We Are Family Pittsburgh Sports Podcast. And it's another special episode on this episode 70 because we are joined by a very special guest, someone who we honestly should have had on earlier. But it's a perfect time right now because the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, right here, right now. And Ryan Jones joining the podcast. 1/4 of Have a Shift Day.
What a welcome.
You can't.
I was like talking instead of clapping because this mic is just collapsing on me. But
I know.
Thank you for joining us, of course, Ryan.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
This is an honor.
And we got a ton to get into because there's a lot of storylines for this Stanley Cup playoffs. Obviously, for the first time in, 3-4 years, the Penguins are in the playoffs.
About time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got a very compelling first-round matchup.
What a scary matchup this is. I know a lot of people are thinking, obviously Philadelphia Flyers, for those of you who don't know, but this is terrifying. Obviously it's for the media and for everyone getting excited. Obviously, let's say we play a team like Columbus. It's going to be fun that we're back in the playoffs, but it's not going to be that stellar first rounder. It's going to be something that maybe a few people tune into. But the fact that it's the Battle of PA, the hottest rivalry in all of the NHL. This is just crazy. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be ridiculous. And fingers crossed, we just cannot lose to Philly.
No, you can't. You just.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like, and the reason we have Ryan on today is because we're not hockey experts. We don't follow it as well as he does, and so that's why we have you on, because we want to hear your thoughts and kind of give us and our fans here a better perspective of what's going on with the Penguins and around the league. But yeah, considering everything this team faced, from being a bottom, everyone's saying they're going to be a bottom 5 team, and then you have the injuries of Crosby, Malkin getting suspended, and through all of that, you somehow make the playoffs. Like, it felt like a team that needed to rebuild, and we don't know when they may be back here again, because we don't know how long Malkin and Crosby are going to be here. Like, this is a year where they got to at least, make the city proud and be competitive and win a playoff round, especially against your biggest rival. It feels like that's a necessity for this to be a successful season.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that this is a statement year, and obviously winning a cup is the highest you can get. But
it's hard to do.
It's extremely hard to do. It's the hardest trophy to win in all sports. But like you said, this is a year that cannot be forgotten, right? And you cannot, like you said, the whole motto is flip the script. Let's take what everyone said previously. If we track all the way back to August, especially myself, you have faith in the team when the season starts. But at the end of the day, you're looking at it and you're going, do I really think this team's going to make the playoffs after last year and with all the hype going around it? Yeah, no, I really don't. And to see how this team has overcome and the moves that Kyle Dubas has made as general manager and Dan Muse coming in and completely reshaping the volume of this team really just said, if you don't win this first round, this entire year means nothing. And you cannot, now obviously it's hard to win the cup, but you need to just set a statement in the playoffs because you do not want to be forgotten. Because like you said, who knows when we're going to be back?
Do you think that they're a team that is built to win in the future, or do they still need a lot of younger guys to develop? Like, once Malkin and Crosby are gone.
Yeah, I think that's a tricky question, obviously, because we've seen, Gino got that ridiculous suspension, and Sid was out for about a month.
And they just were so resilient.
Yeah, and they were extremely resilient, because I think they saw a path when they come back, and guys like Erik Karlsson took on leadership, and obviously he's older of age as well, but I think there's enough younger guys where this team doesn't have to do a full rebuild. But especially getting a pick like Ben Kendall as well.
Yeah.
Like Ben Kendall being a first round pick last year, not expecting him to see an NHL time whatsoever in the first 3 years. He comes in, he scores 18 goals. And you got a lot of younger guys. Rutger McGroarty's still trying to find his spot. Avery Hayes. So I think we have enough younger guys where it doesn't have to be a full rebuild, but it definitely is going to be a step back. And that's why this year is so important.
I do want to give a lot of credit to Dubas as well. I was very critical of him before this year, especially because it felt like he was just trying to hold on to something that, because the Penguins haven't made the playoffs in a couple years, and you felt like he sort of was holding on to that, I guess, how they were previously. But I love how he's making a lot of moves built for now and the future. A lot of he gets a lot of draft picks. And one move, especially Tristan Jarry. I mean, everyone wanted him to be sent. I mean, he was sent down, in baseball terms, DFA'd at one point, and he was able to get Stuart Skinner out of that, which, he had critics himself, like from fans and everything. But I mean, to trade Jarry and to get a goalie back and to be in better shape, I mean, that's one move that has really helped this Penguins team out for sure.
Oh, 100%. And what a steal that was. That trade, I couldn't believe it. At first, I mean, Jarry started playing super well within the few weeks before that trade, and I was a little iffy on it because obviously Skinner's a touchy subject, especially when it comes to the playoffs. But, I mean, what a steal. You have a guy like Tristan Jarry who was put on waivers less than a year before, and then we're able to get in and get a Stanley Cup, I guess, caliber goaltender for that, as well as 2 even swaps as well with defensemen. But just like you said, an unreal move by Dubas, and I don't think anyone was expecting that to come out. But also, when Stuart finds his new home in Pittsburgh, I didn't expect him to be as good as he is.
Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, Dubas, I mean, I'm glad you made that point, Jake, because Dubas, it can't be overstated the job he's done. Obviously, Dan Muse coming in as that development kind of coach with a lot of experience in that regard. Dubas talked about that recently in an interview. He was talking about how Dan Muse, like he was so good. We just saw his eye for young talent and developing that. And you're starting to see that. And that's, I think, the balance the Pens have to manage is like the here and now with Crosby and Malkin, plus building towards that future. And I think a really positive thing is you're seeing guys that are going to be on the next contending team for the Penguins beyond, Gino and Crosby. And I think that's really positive. And, the Stuart Skinner trade, I mean, it was just something where it just wasn't working with Jarry, right? There was just the fans were tired of it. Jarry said some things, too, in the past that haven't really sat well with fans. You're bringing Stuart Skinner, who, is just a lovable kind of guy. He's just a really good dude. And he has that Stanley Cup experience now. It's been in losses in the finals, but he does have that experience.
He was the guy that they ended up, like, they switched between him and that, I think his name was Pickard.
Yeah, Calvin Pickard,
but
yes.
He ended up being the guy in the end that was like that they had to rely on to win.
Right.
And they came close, very close, especially the first year. Down 3-0 and almost came back to win the whole thing.
But I think that's the question I have with this Pens team because they've shown a really strong ability to score. I mean, they were second in the Eastern Conference, I maybe until recently in goals. But it's just that prevention in the playoffs. Can they get into shootouts with teams? I know Philadelphia, we're looking at round 1. They're not as high octane offensively.
Right.
What are you looking at in that first round, Ryan? And do you think Shilovs and Skinner can hold up?
Yeah, that's a great question because you got to take it one round at a time. And the biggest thing with this round, especially with Philly is one of the worst, if not the worst, special teams in the entire league. So power play, I think, is 32, and their PK is 28. So obviously, you can't look at numbers for everything, but you look at a guy like Trevor Zegras who came in this team, this Philly team, and started bringing a spark. Mitel Michkov, he's also, he's really, really fast. So the special teams is fast, but they're still trying to adjust to all of these late season moves that the Flyers did make. And I don't think there's enough time to be able to fix that once you're just getting hit by an absolute barrel in the playoffs. So what the Pens got to do is they got to take advantage of that. Don't get in anything stupid, right? I mean, the Flyers are going to want to get in their head. That's what the Flyers do best. I mean, they are a rough, scrappy team. So if they're going to come in and start a scrum or they're going to grab someone's jersey and go, hey, you want to go? No, you don't want to risk injury and you just don't want to be stupid. Let them lose the series for themselves. And when they end up taking dumb penalties, that's when you attack on it. That's exactly how you're going to win that series.
When you talk about the Penguins being a better offensive team and a better power play team, that was the thing over the last couple of years I didn't understand, is you have these elite scorers and these elite offensive players like Crosby, like Brian Russ, like Evgeny Malkin. And I was like, as an outsider, someone who doesn't watch a lot of hockey, I'm like, how with even though they're older, but like we know Crosby has aged well. Malkin has aged still pretty well. Oh, we could talk. I know you and Malkin have an interesting relationship.
It's a little iffy.
We can talk about that. But I just never understood, why is this team so bad offensively when you have all these veteran players who are good scorers? And is it because they got these new guys like Kindle and then some of the free agents like Mantha that turned out well? What do you think was the difference in them becoming a good power play team and a good offensive team?
What I think is just a huge, just night and day thing is you need someone to be scrappy in front of the net. It doesn't matter who it is, but you need someone to take that 5 spot. And instead of work a huge U around the entire net, you need someone to sit right in front of the goalie and just be absolute havoc for him. Because that's what we saw in the last of back-to-back defending cup champion runs. Is you had a guy like Patrick Hornquist. He would sit right in front of the net, and he would be he would be awful. If I'm a goalie, I don't want that guy in front of the net. So obviously we don't have that set in stone guy. But there's always someone taking that role. I mean, I saw Chinikov do it a few times. Gino, he's a huge body. Soderblom on power play number 2. He's a 6'8" winger. So instead of putting him on the wing, slap his body right in front, and he could battle out the defensive guys and just be a huge wall so the goalie doesn't see. So you need that guy screening in front, just being an ass. You know what I mean? You don't want him to You can't be just beating around the bush trying to find for that perfect spot, and that's what I think, Peyton, we've been doing the last previous years because you got a lot of great scorers, but they're looking for that perfect opportunity. Just put it on the net, rebound will happen, make sure there's someone in front.
Yeah, that was the thing
Good
too.
analysis.
That was the thing too, because it felt like in years past, like they were looking for that perfect shot, and there was just so much passing, and now it feels like they're throwing it on net, and good things have been happening. And I mean, last year they were pretty good in the power play too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
But this year the last year they just blew so many leads. Like they were in position a lot of times last year, which is why I think there was some hope going into the season from some people. It's like they blew just so many crazy leads last season that it was just unfathomable, honestly. And then fast forward to this year, they have that rough stretch, end of November into December a little bit. But then they come back and we talk about, I think with this team, it's resilience. That's like the word for this team because they face so much adversity and they've handled it so well. And the good thing, too, is there's no 3-on-3 overtime. There's
Amen.
no shootout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think the Pens are in a good spot. I think it would be a disaster if they lost to the Flyers in round 1.
Yeah.
Just for the rivalry optics of it. I mean, and looking on paper, I mean, I got to be honest, and I follow the NHL a little bit, but it feels like a talent mismatch, in this series.
Right.
I feel like that third Metro spot, the Islanders are always so pesky. I was like, if they get in, that'll be tough. Columbus and Philly and everybody was just I don't know where that scoring pure talent is that you see from some of the top teams in the Atlantic. And you see, honestly, from the Penguins with the Crosby, Malkin this season. Brian Rust every year just does his thing. I think he's so unheralded. Mantha has been tremendous. I mean, I'm shocked at how well he's played this season. But
How old is he?
He is 38,
Really?
37,
Really?
I believe so.
Wow.
I believe he's up there. Or, maybe 36. He's 36 or 37.
wow.
It feels like
Somewhere
every
in that.
time I look up the score of a Penguins game, he has 2 goals. I'm
Yeah.
every single time, I'm
Yeah,
what is going
Chinikov.
on? And that's even shocking that he's that old, too.
Right, plus 30 goals on the year. So
Wow.
a huge pickup by Dubas.
Do the Penguins potentially look to? I'm not as familiar with NHL contracts as I am an MLB and NFL. Do they with the younger guys? Because I thought Mantha was actually a younger guy. I did not realize
I
he
did
was that
too.
old.
Yeah.
But with Chinikov, Kindle's a different story because he's literally a teenager.
Right.
But maybe with a guy like Chinikov, do you look to extend him for the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, 100%.
25 years old.
Yeah, Chinikov, that's a blatant. You got to go for him. No matter how this team's going to result after the playoffs, Chinikov, you got to give him at least, in my opinion, we got a lot of money to work around too. So, if I were Dubas, I would give him a 6-year contract and probably around, obviously the NHL is a lot less money than if you look at baseball or football.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy,
I mean,
actually.
Yeah.
I'd give him at least, if you're doing 6 years, I'd at least give him about $6 million or 5.75 a year, and I think he'd be happy to take
He wears
that.
that
anyway.
number 59, and it's is that Gensel? Is that
Right.
Jake Gensel?
He's got a
No,
better
it's not.
he's got a better shot than Gensel too. It's crazy. I think they said it was a 94 mile an hour wrist shot, so not winding up whatsoever.
He's something. I mean, that was another thing with Dubas. I kind of went off that point, but just a trade like that doesn't nobody really talks about it.
Right.
Right. It was way under the radar. Just a minor, trade. Dan Heinen goes to Columbus, and he's just been tremendous. I mean, it's over a 30 goal pace. like with the Penguins, and he really did nothing in Columbus. It's just crazy. Like Dubas, like the Mantha move for next to nothing. Parker Witherspoon next to nothing signing in free agency. Some of these guys, I think the defensemen overall just are really strong now too. You look at Ryan Shea, like the progression of him year over year. Witherspoon's been so solid, and Carlson is. I mean, the second half of the season, he's been spectacular.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, if you would have told me about 6 months ago that Erik Karlsson would be a top 5 defenseman in the league and just starts lighting up the lamp, being the number 1 in the NHL defenseman for like 2 months in a row, I would have slapped you and said you're crazy. But go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like at the time, whenever he was traded for, I knew he was a good player, and the Penguins didn't have to give up too much. But I was thinking, like, they just missed the playoffs. They've been being first round exits, taking on that amount of money. Is it really worth it at the end of the day if you're going to be closer to a rebuild than not? And then obviously the early part of his tenure with the Penguins has been disappointing from what I've heard, at least. And then he comes out and is incredible right now. It's almost like, it's all worth it. And it shows why I don't know anything about hockey, being skeptical of that. But it's crazy to see how he's turned from someone that Penguins want to just get rid of that salary to now being a very, very valuable piece to this team.
Oh yeah. I mean, I said the same thing like a few months ago. I was like, we're paying him the most. I was like, we're giving him what, $10 million a year, and we're wasting. I was like, we're just wasting this money. If you ask me right now, give him that 10. He could take it.
Oh yeah,
he could stay here as long as he wants. That's good by me. So
it's been that, like, just real quick, that inside move. He keeps doing that from the wing, the inside move, and then the wrister. And it seems like every time he does that, it goes in the back of the net.
Yeah, he has that weird, like, and I'm surprised no one's picked up on it yet, because it's happened for probably about 2 months. But he sits on the corner of that same right wing spot on the blue line, and he's a righty shot. So I mean, you could just play him on the boards. You crunch him against the boards, you get the puck out of the zone. And he's like, all right, come at me. He's like, come at me every single time. Then he does that weird toe drag thing, goes around him with one hand, and he absolutely fires it. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that the rest of the NHL has not paid attention whatsoever, because that's going to feed, as Nick says, that's going to feed family.
We're just going to have to hope that no NHL teams are watching right now, because you may have given them ideas.
No, that's true. I might have given him a little insight there, but
many NHL scouts for teams are watching this podcast.
Yeah.
So that is, you're absolutely spot on, Jake Bell.
Well, the thing with Karlsson, at least the couple of games that I went to, he just seemed to always like make a dumb mistake defensively.
100%.
And I've always thought that was the big problems with the Penguins the last few years was obviously the goaltending and the defense. Like, it felt like all of their defensemen, especially Karlsson, it was like, we want to be part of the offense instead of just focusing on playing defense. Is that a correct assessment, and is that changed? Do you feel like?
100%. I honestly couldn't say it better. Yeah, that's. I don't even know what to say. How do I Peyton? I mean, I agree with you. That's exactly what's happening. So yeah.
And do you think that's a Dan Muse thing? Like, what is Dan Muse? What do you think he's done to change compared to when Mike Sullivan was here? What has he done to change the way they play?
So yeah, Karlsson plays a weird style of defense. People call it two-way defenseman. People call it an offensive defenseman. It's whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. So what's Mike Sullivan's way of hockey, and what we saw this especially in the 2022 playoffs against the Rangers, we're up 3-1, and then we blow a 3-game lead, and we lose 4-3 in Game 7. Yep. Panarin, whatever. Don't want to talk about it, but it's the way that he taught and he presented himself to the team, Sullivan, and especially to Karlsson. Karlsson's the big factor on this, is he would say, all right, we're up by 2-3 goals. And like you said, we'd blow a lot of leads. Exactly. So Sullivan had two types of coaching. It was offensive coaching and defensive coaching. And right as we had a 2 or 3 goal lead, he would tell to all his players at a TV timeout, and this is crazy, but I can't believe this. We actually found this out probably about 3 months ago for the first time, is he would get all the players together and he'd say, all right, you guys know what to do. And they would flip the switch and they'd go to a defensive style game. So they would take their foot off the gas completely. And that is not how Karlsson plays. And what exactly what Sully would say to Carl would be like, all right, Carl, welcome to the Pens. I understand you know how you played your game, right? But we're not going to do that. You are a great defenseman. We're going to keep you a great defenseman. So Karlsson was completely flipped off his switch, got into this same groove with Mike Sullivan. Then you bring in a guy like Dan Muse, and Dan Muse is like, hey, I see what's going on here. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to give you some time. And throughout the year from, I want to say August, from training camp to I don't know when he started heating up, like January, February.
Yeah.
It took him some time to regain who he was in San Jose and Ottawa. But he finally got that spark back because Musa's like, no, we're not going to take our foot off the gas. We're going to go full offensively. And hey, Carl, you're going to be that player you were in the, I don't know, 10 to 12 seasons before you got here. And it's completely changed his
So
routine.
keeping the foot on the gas helped them to just play, just to still play
Just
better
play.
defense.
That's the
Instead
memo,
of
yeah.
saying, oh, we got to play defense and tightening up, they actually played worse defense doing that.
Right, because then you start focusing on something that doesn't need to happen. I mean, if you are winning 2 out of 3 periods in a game offensively and you're playing an offensive game, why would you switch anything? You know what I mean? Like they say, don't fix what's not broken or whatever that saying is. So, yeah, I mean, just keep your foot on the gas, and that's what they've done, and that's completely reshifted this team.
And that kind of shows you how like just difference in coaching, because like Mike Sullivan being around for a while, they're going to be more passive in terms of defense. Just in any coach in any sport you watch. So you have a newer coach that comes in, kind of just wants to jump the gun and get things going. I think that works out really well for the Penguins, who they have a lot of veterans, but they have a lot of youth on that team. And I think that it works better if you're getting these guys going, like you mentioned.
Right.
But it also brings up the fact that the fact that they're always going to be putting the foot on the gas and trying to be aggressive and trying to score a lot of goals. This is a team, they're not going to win a lot of 1-0 or 2-1 games.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of what worries me for that, as far as them advancing far into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because you have teams like Carolina, which is not. I mean, I know you saw Jake's bracket. I mean, it's all fun and games in there, but
we should provide context. Have a shift day was in here before us. Ryan was here, and we went outside. I watched our friend Brian Cashman fill out his bracket. I didn't see your bracket, but we could talk about it. But they had their annual bracket segment of the year, so you guys got to go. I'll go check that out. Maybe we'll put that in the description.
We will.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, it was all fun and games. I mean, I put the Pens to win the cup, but I'll be honest, disclaimer, that is not what I think is going to happen here. I have had 3 different brackets, and only one of them is how I truly believe of what's going on for a bunch of different social media stuff. But I forgot what the question was. I don't even know.
I'm sorry, I got you off track.
No, you're totally
what
fine.
What did I say, Nathan?
Wait.
About
Nathan.
them being an offensive, like they're not a team.
Yeah,
that scores.
okay,
They're not
sorry.
gonna win a lot of 2-1
I was thinking
games.
Eric Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. No, yeah, that's going to be a real tricky position because of teams like Carolina. They play such a set-in-stone game where they played the same game since 2001 when they won the cup. They haven't switched. It's been the same. We play an even slate game, offensive defenseman, and for some reason it works, and I don't get it. It's a relatively physical game as well, and the way I don't know, because they've had the same defensive coach for so long, so I guess that's probably the reason. But when you face a team like that, which obviously we have yet to beat this year,
But every game against them,
They're
is
just
such
right
a
there.
battle. But
Right.
like Carolina just doesn't go away. They just keep coming back.
That's
on
the
us.
only thing I think might help us is the Penguins are one of the best 5-on-5 teams in the league, partnered with the Hurricanes and as well as like the Stars and the Avalanche. And there's no 3-on-3, right? 3-on-3, Carolina knows how to find space and they know how to crunch people down. So on special teams, that's the issue. I mean, we cannot be finding ourselves on the PK too much if we end up, knock on wood, going against Carolina. But like you said, they've been close. They've been nail biters. There's no 3-on-3 overtime and there's no shootouts. It's a 5-on-5 game the entire slate of the NHL playoffs. So that's why I think we're going to win in the second round? If I'm being honest with you, no. But do we have a chance? More of a chance than I'd say some people would say.
Yeah, Carolina is just, like you were saying, they're just such an interesting team because their style of play, and they've never been able to get to the top, like except for 20 years ago. Like, but with Brindamore, they haven't been able to get to the top, and it's just like somehow they score a ton of goals and they play this heavy defense, physical style of play. I mean, I remember the last game when the Pens were in Carolina, it was a complete shootout. Erik Karlsson's doing his thing.
The same move.
Kindle's doing his thing, and it's like, this is the game. The Pens are finally going to beat Carolina on the road, and then Carolina just goes off offensively as well, and then they're just so like put together and tight, like they just don't make those mistakes. They kind of remind me of the Brewers in baseball, actually.
Wow.
Because they just like, and they're like talented. Like Aho's so good. Like they just got a lot
Jake
of guys.
Gensel.
He's not on
No,
Carolina.
he's on Tampa.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I I always get that confused because he got traded to Carolina and then he signed with Tampa.
Yeah.
I saw. I'm
But
sorry.
it feels like
Carolina
I was
just
doing
moved
so
a lot of
well
guys
with my
out.
hockey talk until just now.
No,
That's
you recovered. That away. You're good.
But like they just have like a bunch of like really good players. It feels like I was like almost a great
Yeah.
player, but I feel like they just have a bunch of really good players who know their roles and who execute to perfection. And I am like their goalie's Freddie Anderson, right? He's one of their goalies.
Yeah, him and Brandon Bussey. So
Like I feel like that's like an issue for them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
But like they always just seem to overcome it like in the regular season. That's where I think this could be a chance for the Penguins in the second round should they beat the Flyers and should Carolina take care of Ottawa, that it could be a really fun series.
Really could.
With a lot of goals, even though like
I think
Carolina
that
you
would be
wouldn't
the Pens formula.
that would be the formula
Yeah.
as well.
It's just to outscore at the end of the day. I mean, you play that foot on the gas type of play, and you know what I mean. You kind of sleep a little bit defensively because I guess some people can say that our defensive game isn't the like greatest, even though we got a guy like Ryan Shea and like we got big hitters like
it's better
Waterspoon
than
and Clifton.
I mean, it was really bad.
Way better
So it's
than
better
last
than
year.
it was.
Way better than I'd say 6 months ago. But it's you gotta outscore them. You gotta take defense and you gotta throw that aside at the end of the day. And if they score, fine, whatever, get it back, go score. You know what I mean? And hopefully the next one is going to be the winning goal. So
Now I had a question about Chris Letang
Oh,
because
that's a good. Yeah.
because every time I watch in the past few years, like I want to be supportive.
yeah.
But it just feels like every year it's a decline. It's a decline. What do you think of him going into the playoffs? And just his over. It just feels like something's off with him. It feels like age is maybe catching up with
He's had
him.
Yeah.
what, like 2 different heart issues or something?
Yeah, he had 2
He's had
He
a
had a
strokes.
heart-
stroke.
yeah.
I mean,
2
that's
strokes.
crazy.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. But like at this point, it's like because Carlson's up there in age, you know, and everything, and he looks rejuvenated under Dan Muse. Whereas we haven't seen that with Letang. I remember he was on 699 or so. He was waiting to get that 800th or 700th point, whichever one that was, for like the longest time.
Took like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do you think of Chris Letang like going into the playoffs? And would you probably prioritize the Shea Witherspoon kind of Carlson pairings and Clifton over him?
Yeah, it's tricky because I love Chris.
Yeah.
I love him, and it's so hard to bet against him. But I agree. I think it sucks, but
Yeah.
I think Chris Letang, he's really fell off a cliff, and I mean he has his days. Obviously, it's weird. It's a weird formula. He'll have his days.
Bro, in
where-
overtime, like he'll make some like overtime. You're like, wow, like he'll come alive at different spurts.
I feel like, but if he gets too relaxed, there's days where Chris is going to get too relaxed, and then that's where he makes his most mistakes. Like, especially in neutral zone play. Neutral zone play is ridiculous. Or if he's on the blue line and they're starting to get something cooking, and the puck goes to him and he's not expecting it, it's going right behind him. It's going out of the zone, and then you got to regroup. And he just seems, if he's tense and he's like, all right, I know what I'm doing. Here's what's going on here. We're looping around. We're going down the ice. We're going to take a shot or we're going to set something up. It's okay. He seems to be playing all right, but his neutral zone play has just been brutal. So to your point, I think as of right now, maybe it's got to be some personal thing going on or just he can't seem to find himself. Maybe, getting into the playoffs, getting that spark back going, hey, we might be able to do this. Maybe that, rejuvenates him as well. But I do think you got to prioritize Witherspoon and Carlson, and I think you drop Connor Clifton down with Tanger, and I think you put Tanger on the third spot. I think you give him that third D selection, and if you wanna, switch things around, but he's definitely not gonna. I wouldn't put him on a PK or anything like that.
Right.
But
It just seems like his decision making too, like to your point, like at the blue line and everything. Like I'll just see him make like the dumbest pass you've ever seen,
Yeah.
and we never would see that from Letang in years past. So
That I remember was that with Hextall? They gave him that contract for like
Yeah.
6 years. It's like, dude, he's 34. Or I don't know how old he was, but it's like, why? Like, it seems like to give an aging defenseman who's had heart issues and like that just seemed like a mistake at the time. And
Yeah.
well, it was the
and
balance.
they've had to deal with it.
It was the balance of like your cornerstone franchise players too, and it's like the fans want Chris, still with the team and everything. I understood it like at the time, but
Well, I think that was it was the same thing with the Steelers. It was like, do we let go of Big Ben or do we
Yeah.
keep Big Ben? But like the Steelers continued to keep Big Ben around, but fortunately, it's worked out where Dubas has, gotten these younger players and they're able to put one last run together at least.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're talking about this as one last run. Like, I think, like, Crosby's going to be back next year. Some of these guys, like, this has the chance, if they could supplement with some more younger players, to be like a sustained kind of thing where you don't have to enter into that crazy rebuild. What do you think about that, Ryan? Like, this isn't like there may be some hope for next year too.
Yeah, it honestly depends on how we do in the playoffs because I think all the re-signing depends on how we do in the playoffs, especially for a guy like Evgeny Malkin. I
want to hear your thoughts on your whole, because you're not the biggest Evgeny Malkin fan.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I know a lot of people love him, and I know they want him in Pittsburgh. I think he's really turned it up now in the winger spot, right? But I was really harping like this guy sucks when he was in the center position because he's getting old, he's getting way lazier, and there's no way you could say whatever you want about Gino. This guy does not play a 200-foot game. He will bust his butt for 15 to 20 seconds if he gets possession, if he sees a little glimpse of light. But the second he turns that puck over, he starts getting lazy with his stick. He'll draw a penalty. He'll do some stupid stuff, especially with that suspension where he slapped
we were
Darlene
at that
right in the
game.
face.
That was a disaster.
Absolutely
Me.
ridiculous. The most selfish play. He's been relatively selfish, but he's been a little better. But in my opinion, I mean, I don't look at it. I like Gino, right? Gino used to be my favorite player of all time. I wrote on this guy so high. And I like some of his play styles. I think he's extremely lazy. So putting him on the wing spot and giving that responsibility to Raquel is huge. And I think that's benefited him a little more. But I hate when, like, I'm painting a picture for you. So, like, you got a 200-foot ice, and you got the guys going through the neutral zone. Gino is pulling Ovi, and he's sitting on the blue line waiting for something to happen, right? And let's say, Ryan Shea brings into the zone. He dumps it in. Raquel grabs it behind the net. He sends it over. Carlson moves it along the blue line. They shoot it in front. Puck goes crazy. It bounces all over the place. And then Raquel comes in, bangs it right off the post, and then Gino comes in and taps it into the open net. And the whole world goes berserk. Gino beast mode. Evgeny Malkin, the greatest of all time. And I lose my crap because no credit to Carlson. No credit to Ryan Shea getting it through the neutral zone. No credit to Eric Carlson for pulling it through the two defensemen and getting it to the net. But somehow Gino happens to be there, and the whole world loves him. That is my biggest issue. And I think even the Havishif people, they think I'm nuts. Right? They think I'm nuts.
I've seen clips.
They think I'm crazy. And the world thinks I'm crazy. But please, I beg you guys, just watch him. Just keep your eye right on Gino and be like, wow, he is really lazy. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some plays where he comes out there because I don't want him to do bad. I'm not looking at him like, all right, what's he going to do this time? I'm like, come on, Gino, you got this. Let's go. But if he does something, I'm going to harp about it. Because if Sid goes out there and does that, I'm going to be livid at Sid. Like, I don't care. But a lot of people look at Gino and they're like, this guy, like, he's just the greatest. He's the second coming, and he's never slowed down. And everyone does the effort for him, and they call him the greatest. So I highly recommend it. And if I'm wrong, and if he comes into the playoffs and starts playing out of his mind, then I am super happy to be wrong. But I ask of people, just, hey, the next game, look at Gino and, look how long he's out there for his shifts and see how he is on defense in a full 200-foot game. Because in my opinion, I think the Penguins are still in the playoffs without Gino.
Wow.
Which is a very touchy subject. But, I mean, especially in that last stretch when the Penguins start heating up, I mean, he had no goals in 15 games, not counting the suspension, only 3 points and more penalty minutes than he had in points. And they're like, oh, look at the stats. Look how good he does. I am looking at the stats. You know what I mean? And it's just a bit touchy for me and him. And I love him. I love him to death, and I hope he does great. But I think there is a lot of stuff wrong going on before we can start praising him.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about, is he going to come back for another year? Are they going to re-sign him? I mean, it depends on how. I feel like it would depend on how much money he wants. So if he's going to want more than he probably deserves, then you would certainly say the Penguins should just, say, hey, it's been a hell of a ride, but
reallocate
you either have
the
to
resources.
retire or finish your career elsewhere.
Yeah, I think they're, at the end of the day, I mean, if they're going to re-sign him, it's going to be for 1 year because Sid's got 1 year left in his contract. Now, I don't think Sid's going to be done after next year. I think he's going to have some time left, but I think it really depends because Dubas had his post-game, I think it was a post-game a few weeks ago. They asked him, they're like, hey, we're still waiting on a Gino. Yeah, we're still waiting on it. And Dubas goes, hey, I think it was Dubas, not Dan Muse, but he goes, yeah. At the end of the day, when you have a veteran like that with so much tenure, you need to look at him, and you can obviously treat him a little different than you do the guys who it's his first year. But remember, we have to do what's best for the team. And that kind of stuck with me a little bit. Like, are you dissing on him? Are you not? Like, I think obviously if we're going to re-sign him, it's going to be somewhere in like June or July after we figure out what's going on with the playoffs. But if they do, it's going to be 1 year. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we don't.
I've gotten that feeling like they've asked Dubas a ton about that, and he's never happy like being asked about it. It does feel like he doesn't want to give him the extension, like
Especially with money too.
Yeah. Like he doesn't want to.
If Malkin takes the team-friendly deal, if he says, "Hey, I'm willing to take a little less so we can add to the team and whatever they might need,"
yeah, then great.
But if he's like, "Hey, this is my value. I want then." I feel like they'd be more inclined not to. I mean, that's just business.
It feels like Gino obviously wants to be here, and he's said that even more like as the season's gone that he wants to.
But when
be
you're late
back,
in your career, you want your money, man.
But you want the money, yeah.
And hockey, you're not. It's not like he's made $300 million throughout the course of his career.
Yeah.
If it was baseball, he probably would have. But it's hockey. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying like. It's a very interesting situation with Gino because he's been on the decline like recently before this season, and so if he has this season, the Pens don't do well, don't make the playoffs, and he has a 40-point season or something with 15 goals, then it's like easier for Dubas to kind of move on. I think that's what the Penguins wanted to do for this coming off season.
But now it's challenging.
Now they're in the playoffs. They got to make at least the second round, and Gino has played well, and he does like I see where you're coming from with he's obviously lazy he takes plays off. Like I've always seen him. I just look at him and it's funny just like watching him. It's like
do you think it's because he's a bigger bodied guy?
Right.
Like, do you think it's because his conditioning isn't probably where it should be?
Yeah.
Is that probably what it is?
Yeah, I think
it's kind of like a Big Ben situation. Like Tom Brady had a whole diet. And, he was always in good shape. That's why he played till 45. Big Ben in the offseason, he didn't do anything. He was drinking beer.
It's like Ovi. He's got Dr. Pepper on the bench. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, yeah, I agree. I think that's there's an extent of it's not really does he not want to make the play. It's just he physically can't.
Tired, yeah.
And he doesn't want to put the effort out in the offseason to be able to get back. Obviously, I don't think there's any recovering, especially after – a few off seasons not really taken so seriously, but I think so.
And with Gino Malkin, you also have to realize Dubas never acquired him to start. He never won a Stanley Cup with him, so to me it would be easier for him to make that decision. But I feel like he's also being pressured to bring him back every year, which can be an issue because I assume it's more fan-related pressure than anything, and you don't want to let the fans consume what you do. I've always believed that because the fans are going to want to bring your icons back. I mean, I don't want to go off topic with a different sport, but everyone wants Kutch back, and what I mean. It's I'm not saying it's the same situation, but the fans are going to want the icon that was there when their team was at their peak during their generation. So I feel like that's a lot of pressure on Dubas to keep bringing him back, and to me, I think he'll end up having to make a decision based off saying, hey, this is great and all, but I didn't acquire him. I wasn't here whenever he won a Stanley Cup. I have to make a decision and build this team the way I want to, the Stanley Cup team that I want to build.
Well, here's another factor, though.
It's a great
what
point.
if Sidney Crosby comes in and says, hey, I demand that Evgeny Malkin is on this, is on the team.
That's also
I don't know. I assume they're obviously have a very close relationship.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. And they had Spit and Chicklets podcast. I don't know if you know Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonnette, and Keith Yandel, but they just had Kyle Dubas on, and that was the question they asked. And they asked him, they said, Dubas, you got a guy like Sidney Crosby who's pretty close to your age, who's been there a lot longer than you do. Do you consult him with things? Do you go, hey, Sid, what do you think about this? Oh, whatever.
I guarantee that's happened throughout his career.
He said, yeah. He's like, it's one of those things where you go and you consult him, and you kind of need not you need his approval, but you need to make sure he's on the same page you don't want him not on the same page, because if you go in to approach him and then you leave more confused than you did before you showed up, that's not a good sign. So it's not like you need the guy's approval, but you definitely need to consult him with things. And like with that point, I mean, Sid most likely wants Gino to stay. I mean, so it's definitely like you need to.
It's touchy.
It's a very, very
Like
touchy
you said
subject.
earlier.
Yeah.
It's a very touchy subject.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to the goaltending, because I've probably talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but the trade with Edmonton. Well, first of all, I was never a big Kyle Dubas guy, because I just could not understand Tristan Jarry. Multiple times he had his chance to prove he was a winning championship caliber goalie in the playoffs, and he couldn't do it. And I'm like, okay, this guy isn't it. And then I hear we have signed Tristan Jarry to a 5-year extension. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, the
What on
craziest
earth?
move.
I'm like, Ron Hextall was horrible. I was like, did we not learn from this guy?
He was
Like,
always a Flyer. Ron Hextall was a Philadelphia Flyer.
and I'm thinking,
Terrorist.
this Dubas guy, I don't know. Because people are saying, oh, Dubas. Because I think people were really excited about him just because he wasn't Hextall. And I'm like,
Yeah.
signing Tristan Jarry, that was something extending him was something I couldn't get over. And it clearly hindered the team for the last couple of years. But he found a way to get out of it. We talked about this earlier, but that trade, specifically the fact that they got Stuart Skinner, the last couple of years when I've done my bracket challenge, because I'm like, I'll tick random teams based on random things. And I saw the name Stuart Skinner, and I'm like, that's a guy I want to ride with. That is a guy.
right.
That is a name I want to ride with. So, like, Stuart Skinner was one of my favorite players, favorite goalies, and favorite players in the league, honestly, just because he has the mustache, the name, just everything about him. Is just
Oh, yeah.
aura.
He's got. Yeah, I was gonna say
And
he's
then
got the aura.
Tristan Jarry is like one of my least favorite players ever in hockey. And the fact they were able to trade both of them, it was like something that would happen in a dream. Like
Yeah.
it just seemed like improbable from my perspective.
Like we basically gave him a bag of Doritos and a half a Krispy Kreme donut, and we got a steak dinner. Like,
And
that's
I'm
what we
not
got
saying
out of
I
it.
know Stuart Skinner isn't great, but he is. To me, goaltending is like quarterback in the NFL. You have to have the quarterback with playoff experience that plays well in the playoffs, and that's a franchise quarterback. It's the
Right.
same thing with the goaltender. And the Penguins didn't have that. Now I don't think Stuart Skinner is a franchise guy, but at least he has playoff experience, and I think that's what's exciting for me about this team. So I'm all aboard. Stuart Skinner should be the number one goalie for this team.
100%.
Do you think, that's what I want to ask you, do you think he should be the starting goalie, or do they continue to do this flip-flop back and forth between him and Shilovs? Because Shilovs doesn't really have much, we don't really know much about Shilovs.
Yeah. No, coming from Vancouver, especially a team that doesn't really make the playoffs as often. But, yeah, I think Skinner needs to be one, and you need to go from there. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if you lose a game. Like, if Skinner comes into the playoffs, right, in game one, and if we lose, I mean, obviously, so to your answer, he needs to be game one, set in stone.
Okay.
But if he comes in and we lose 7-3,
And the
that's
majority of the goals are on him.
right.
Yeah.
That's where we put in Shilovs. If he comes in and we lose 4-3 in overtime, no, Skinner's starting game 2.
Okay.
Obviously, we win. Skinner's starting game 2. But I say unless we get absolutely blown out and it's his fault, Skinner's going to be the ride or die goalie, because obviously he has the playoff experience. I think he knows, like you said, how to quarterback this team, especially on a defensive perspective. So he's definitely got to be the ride or die guy going into it. And Shilovs is more of like hey, if needed, that's where we're going to go. Now, it seems to be getting a little scary. I wouldn't even be opposed to, I know, I hate talking about it too, so I got to knock on wood. But God forbid something happens to Skinner in this Flyers series, right? And he's out for 4 weeks or something. I mean, that's a few rounds. You don't want to see it. Or if he's even out day to day and you can't have him on the bench to back it up, maybe we put in Shilovs, but bring up a guy like Mirshov in Wilkes-Barre. You know what I mean? Bring up a guy like that, because he has shown that he can play in intense games and get the team a quick 2 points, that I think you give him that opportunity, he's going to excel greatly. So you have at least 2 pretty dang good goalies to rely off of. But like you said, Skinner's the guy you got to ride with.
I'm glad you feel that way. I'm very glad. But do you think there's a possibility he continues to do this
No, I
No.
think there's no possibility whatsoever, and that's what I
It's
think.
just not something you do.
And
in the playoffs.
it's with Dan Muse has been doing recently is not just in the last 3 games, because obviously we haven't played big guys like Sydney, Gino, Tanger, Carl, but what he did in the last month when we started to, okay, this team's going to make the playoffs. I mean, we had a 6 to 8 point gap between us and the Flyers, or us and the Islanders, whoever it was. But what he started to do is, and I think it was caused with Skinner, he had the puck to the eye. He got the puck to the eye, so we put in Shilovs for 2 games.
Right.
And then when Skinner came back, we put in Skinner for 3. So it's like he started to be like, all right, how can these goalies handle themselves in more than one game besides flopping? And I think that was a really smart move by Muse to be like, hey, let's give them some experience of playing 2 games in 3 days. You know what I mean? So I think that we're just going to stick to one goalie, and because you need to. I mean, you can't flip-flop and give yourself
I've never seen a championship team like flip-flop between goals. That's something
not
you
whatsoever.
do.
And I can say with every piece of confidence that it's going to be Skinner, and he's going to fully approach the Skinner's going every game method.
That black guy thing, I went conspiracy mode because to me, I've always felt Stuart Skinner by the media and the fans has always been a little disrespected, quite frankly. And I know he's not the greatest, but I feel like he's always been a little hated. And I thought, are the Pens like just done with Stuart Skinner and they're just putting him on IL just because they don't want to deal with him? But then it turned out, okay, he's not. He's going to be fine. And because I was worried there for a second. Now we talk about this Murashov guy. People say he's the future. Do you believe that? And my second thought is, people are like, why don't they just bring up Murashov? I'm like, well, they brought in Stuart Skinner for there's a reason clearly why they clearly don't feel like he's ready yet.
Yeah.
If they traded for Stuart Skinner and have stuck with those 2 guys.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a definite difference between if either he's ready or do not rush the guy. So you've seen with a few players from Wilkes-Barre like Rutger McGroarty, Avery Hayes. Those are 2 prime examples. Now, I know it's not goalies, but we'll use them anyway. So Rutger McGroarty, when he started playing really well in the AHL in Wilkes-Barre, he started playing extremely well. I mean, it's a hat trick here, hat trick there. He's got 2 goals and assists one night. They're like, all right, bring him up. And at the beginning of last year was his first NHL game, and they brought him up, and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's weak. You know what I mean? He doesn't know how to play the body. He's not big enough. I mean, he's not ready to play at that NHL level caliber. So they missed from that mistake. They took it away, and they kept a guy like Avery Hayes. Rutger McGroarty was 21 when he joined last year for his first game against the Rangers, which we got blown out 6-0, by the way. But they, like a guy like Avery Hayes, are like, okay, we see the potential that we saw in Rutger. We're not sending him up. They didn't send him up until later this year, and he scores 2 goals in his debut against a hot Buffalo team.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's okay. And then we sent him right back down, which I loved because it's like, all right, don't put too much heat on the guy. Let him have a fun time. Let him get a little NHL experience. Send him back down. Regenerate the battery. Bring him back up. And that's what we're doing with Murashov too. And that's why I think this guy is going to be absolutely elite because he comes in, and I think he has a shutout in the preseason. Then they send him back down. He has 2 games regular season, and he wins both of them. Or I think wins one and then maybe loses one at a shootout, but we're counting that as a win for a guy who's never played in the NHL. And so I think this guy's really going to be a generational talent, and it's more or less of he is ready, but don't rush him. You don't want to put him into the spotlight too soon because then right when you break down, it is so much harder.
Confidence.
It's so much harder to recharge your battery once you've been beat up in the NHL rather than, hey, we're going to wait you an extra year and then you're going to be fully ready to go in the NHL.
So
I think
you're
that's
saying they have a smarter organizational philosophy when it comes to developing players.
Yeah, and I think they've
and not
seen
rushing them up because, we need to win now.
Yeah, and I think they've seen via tests earlier throughout, like guys like McGroarty and Hayes and especially some goalies too, like Blomqvist, and seeing how those guys are affected on different approaches going into the NHL, and I think they see the talent that Murashov is, and they don't want to ruin it.
So I want to talk about your predictions here. Some predictions here, and I want to get into kind of like the rest of the league a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you looking at for Pens Flyers? What is your official prediction, and how confident are you that the Pens are going to get it done?
Okay.
On a scale of what, 1 to 10?
On a scale of...
Yeah.
This is terrible. Like, I'm losing sleep over this. Like, it's bad.
Wow.
Like, it's pretty bad. I was talking to them earlier, the Have a Shift people, and I was like, because they're walking in here and they're like Pens in 4, Pens
Yeah.
in 5, and in the most respectful way, I think they're insane. Like, you cannot go into this, and I'll even throw this out there, right? I'll throw this out there, and sorry for getting a tiny bit off topic, but that's the same thing that guys like Nick Shermito, I'm saying names, Nick Shermito,
calling out Nick Shermito.
I love you, Tile, but Tile said the same thing going into the pod games. They said the same thing. They're like, this team. They're like, this.
I didn't know you were going with this. Wow.
And I'll be honest, right? And I think on the car ride there, they're like, we're gonna have some fun today. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Like, I'm really excited. And they're like, oh, I can't believe we got Tile. I can't believe we got Graves. Like, this is so unfair. And I said, guys, I'm like, I don't care if we're playing the Timbits from down the street who've never played hockey in their lives. I was like, first of all, we don't know all the guys who Peyton's bringing. I said he might be bringing a stud guy.
We didn't know either.
We don't know if he's going to be good. We don't know. And also, I said ball hockey's different. I said it's about speed. I said there's going to be a lot of room on the ice or whatever you call it out there, and you cannot go into anything lightly. I said the second you go into it, like, you're going to win. And I saw them in warm-ups, like, especially Shermino, and I give him crap for it. I love him to death, but I give him crap for it because he was ready. He was listening to his music. He was doing his stretches and stuff. And he's like, we got this. I was like, dude. Don't do this. And we get piped right in the first period by Ryan Quinn. And I look over at Nick. I look over him on the bench. And I just smile at him. I go, dude, we're gonna run for our money. And he's like, we're fine, bro, we're fine. And he goes out on the ice. And dude, I was like, I tell you, buddy, like, I was not shocked whatsoever that we got belt. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way.
Well,
so I'm sorry for switching the subject, but I had to throw that out there.
This is great.
This is gonna be clipped.
This will be clipped.
I had to throw it out there because I told them, I was like, and I know there's a lot of people on that team that were the same as me too. But I remember Nikki being so confident. I was like, Nick, you can't be confident.
There were more people being overly confident than there weren't, and I said it at Pioneer Live because.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I wish I would have been there. I was so sad. I had so many assignments I had to do. I felt so bad.
So many people have a shift day, and they. Because Ryan Tile was like, Pirate Peyton turned heel. I said, I turned heel because everyone was saying...
Oh, dude, you were in our grill, man. You were in our grill.
Because Nick Shermito was like, this is going to be so easy. I'm like, you're being disrespectful. And so I was disrespectful back. It was all in good fun.
Oh, yeah, 100%, right?
But it was competitive. It was feisty. But I'm glad someone from your team admitted that you guys were a bit overconfident. And obviously you weren't. And you and Cash were the best players on the team. And I also want to apologize because I did genuinely feel bad that you suffered a concussion from that game.
Yeah, it was rough. I was happy to watch the game back. You did a fantastic job, by the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
you deserve all the praise in the world. That was edited so well. And
I appreciate that.
The fact that you took all the time to do that is... We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's
no, but yeah, I was really happy to watch it back because it's crazy to say, but I do not remember much from that game. And I remember going home and I was just like, I do not feel good. I don't feel good. I was like, I can't sleep if I got something crazy. So I go to hospital and they're saying some funny stuff. And the lady's like, so what are you here for? I'm like, my head really hurts. And she's like, okay. And they gave me a notepad. And I give them the notepad back. And there's just scribbles on the paper. And she's like, what's your birthday? And I gave her some like 2000, like instead of 05. And she's like, okay, like, all right. And she's like, how you feeling? I was like, I feel fine. Like, I feel all right. But I'm really confused. Like, I'm really confused for some reason. So now, they put me on, I call it the super drugs. They put me on the super drugs and I felt great.
If Ryan Jones was healthy, I think there was probably a good chance you guys would have completed the comeback. Cause
it might went over. There would have went overtime.
What was the score?
We punched them we punched you guys in the mouth. We went up 3-0 in the first period.
Was it that bad?
In the first period, yeah. And then you guys outscored us?
And then it was 3-2.
3-2,
the third period.
Okay.
Well, there was a controversial call.
Yeah.
When was this?
So someone scored. We thought someone on our
team. I remember this.
Yeah, I showed you.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Me and you yelled at each
Oh, we were
other.
going crazy.
You don't know, like,
That was so
I
funny
had
watching.
to, I edited that in the producer suite. You don't know how many people I've like whenever I was like watching through to see that and just start busting out laughing just
Oh,
because of the
Jones.
whole.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And I love you, buddy. You know I'm just giving it to you. You know I'm just giving it.
I was mad at Tyler Beck, and then you were saying something, and then for some reason I took it out on you.
then it
It's
was-
just the nature.
Oh,
of it.
no, I took it out on
I was
you.
like-
Believe you.
I was like, F you, and I just walked
Oh, I
away.
remember
Awesome.
because you could see like where you congratulate, I think, Ryan for scoring, and then you come out, you're like saying something to Peyton, I think, because like he was arguing about something. You're like, no, and then it was so.
Oh,
funny.
I gotta see this
Yeah.
video. I gotta
Yeah.
see. How did I miss this? I
was
watched some.
so
Oh,
funny.
I've honestly not watched it in full yet. I've only watched the first period.
that is awesome. That is
Second
so
period
funny.
is where it all
I remember
went
that. Wasn't
down.
it? I'm trying to forget what the play was, but I
you
think
probably
it was
don't remember.
not really.
It was-
No,
Well,
I think it was just like did a ball go in or something.
and you know what's
Yeah,
funny?
yeah.
You could see very, very closely in the replay. Like I had to zoom in. It was like hovering over the line. I
Really?
have no idea if it went.
Oh,
in
we
or not,
gotta
but it
find
was-
this after the pod,
It was
yeah.
as close as close
According to
could
Tyler
be. Yeah,
Beck,
it was.
They couldn't.
I think
Yeah.
it was the right call, actually. With Jake Bell, we were talking.
I think
about
it was
and
right. I
Jake
think it
Bell
was
thinks
correct.
Oh,
I don't.
I'm
I
so
don't
mad.
think it was
We
a
were
goal, but it
like-
was. It was
our
like
team, we were
barely.
like, it's a goal, and then
Yeah.
they were like, you guys like, no, it's not a goal yet.
Obviously,
And then-
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, like the big part was not only wasn't it a goal for us, but then you guys had it was a breakaway
Yeah.
at the other end, and then your team scored.
Oh,
Yeah.
who was the guy who?
Tile.
Was it
Tile.
Tile?
Yeah.
Tile.
Okay.
So it like because we were like I was on the bench, but you guys like stopped playing because we thought it was a goal. It's a goal and everything. And
Yeah.
then those two, Kasha and Tile, were going down. Like no, it's still in play, and they scored.
Oh,
It's-
no.
2-0. So
Dude,
that
the
was, like,
crowd must have
thing.
been booing, man.
I remember
Lucas
like
Strickland was-
I was yelling like I was like no shot, and then they scored, and then I had to like keep my composure because I'm like I don't want to get penalized because I know there's going to be penalties after this, but there
Oh, yeah,
wasn't.
really?
There wasn't
Beck's gonna
somehow.
have some goofy
But I was like,
Oh, I know.
there's going to be a power play of some sort, so I had to like keep my
was in
composure.
the
So I had to be like I just want an explanation because I didn't want to
Yeah.
like yell and be like you screwed up whatever because I didn't know if it
Oh,
was
man,
in or
that
not,
is
but
funny.
yeah.
I do think like we should do that again, just like for fun.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, don't
anytime.
film it. Just
we were
like,
talking,
Yeah.
just like a fun, like because I think everybody was just so competitive and
Yeah.
everything, and as you should be, you know.
Right, yeah,
and,
yeah.
And if we do it again, it will be competitive.
Oh,
but
it
it'll
would-
be like
yeah.
I think it'll be like a more enjoyable,
Right.
kind of
Especially the
experience.
cameras-
Bro, it was so
Yeah.
cold.
the cameras
was
add
so
a lot of
cold.
heat to it too.
Yeah.
So, but I remember us all saying, and I remember like they were all just down in the dumps after that. They were just like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't believe we lost. I'm like, yeah, man, like,
Yeah, and you know
like
what's
we
funny?
got our asses kicked.
I went to work the next morning. I had to wake up early, and I was walking. I was like smiling. Like I was so because I'm not a hockey guy. I didn't play. Well, like I had an accidental assist somehow.
Oh, no way.
But
That's awesome.
I'm not good at hockey. But like I was like, even though I wasn't fully responsible, I asked for everyone's input. But like I was trying to come up with a game plan that like because I didn't know how to game plan for hockey. So I was
Yeah.
just doing my best on the people we had. I was like, does this look right, guys? I think this is. And then we switched some stuff
Jake
like
Bell was the
collectively.
game plan. I was the
But-
GM. I got the.
Yeah,
And,
I had to-
what the difference for us, though, I wanted Ryan Quinn on our team. That's why I wanted Tila and Graves to go to you guys because I
Yeah.
wanted Ryan Quinn
Yeah.
on our team just because he had been on our podcast. That was the main reason.
And fair enough,
And I
right?
thought
Yeah.
you didn't do okay. I didn't think it'd be that good. It was incredible how good Ryan Quinn
Yeah,
was.
no. And that's the thing with ball hockey too. And that's what I was saying. I was like, guys, we're not on skates. And they were looking at me like, I forget who it was, but I remember like, they're like, oh, like someone said it. They're like, Ryan's gonna have like 3 goals in the first minute. I'm like, dude, I am so out of shape. Like, I'm like,
Oh,
you guys.
everybody-
I was
I
like,
think everybody
I was
was.
like,
Yeah.
dude, this is not. I was like, it's not ice hockey. Like, I skate. I don't run. Like, I can't do this. So,
Right.
And I'm not throwing excuses out. Like, not at all. Like, I
got
could have done
gassed
way
after,
better.
like,
But
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
If it were,
every time I went out, I
Yeah.
got more and more.
oh my gosh!
gassed.
And
I
we
was-
could have
I was
like,
a mess.
and I
I
just
was-
remember like, but it was a blast. Like we were having so much fun, and like just all of us bickering at each other and
Yeah.
stuff. But to your point, like if we can, obviously with the draft, it's really tricky. But I was thinking of, and I know we talked about it a little bit, especially with like wiffle ball or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I
too.
got everything
Like,
up.
especially like too with hockey, we don't have to go 30 minutes out of our way for something like that. Again, like to a closer rink. I know there's some rinks like 10 minutes away, but
oh, we could go to
we should not have
Bloomfield.
gone
I
to
was,
Yeah.
Westmouth.
I was
Right.
saying like we could go to Bloomfield. They have a deck hockey, and it's you just go right down Liberty, and you go up, and you're there. It's
Right.
literally like
So-
5-10 minutes.
yeah, so I was saying, like, I was thinking about maybe a week prior, maybe like the week after the draft, if people are getting, whatever, be like, hey, on Saturday, we got 4 or 5 people set in stone. Like, we'll text the Pod Games group chat and be like, hey, we're going to play deck hockey. Who wants to join?
Yeah.
And if we end up playing 3-on-3 with no goalie, whatever. We have fun. But we definitely think that would be a lot of fun to tackle on.
I think just like all of us like coming together and like playing, like that's like that's the most fun part
it's
of that.
great.
The whole
Yeah.
point of the pod games is to help promote each other's podcast.
And I don't know about the
and
other
to make memories. Lots
Yeah,
of
yeah.
memories.
and I don't know about the other guys, but I just remember like kneeling down for the photo after, and we're all just like, the game was just out of everyone's minds. And I remember this, and I remember like everyone just laughing because I think we're making fun of Tyler Beck or something.
Yeah.
And I just I love you, Tyler, but I remember like someone made a comment about Tyler and his reffing or something. And we all just laughed, and we're all looking around like, like who cares? Like we're having a blast. Like, and kudos to you guys for a great game. You guys deserve that win so so much.
I don't know about you guys, but we were like
content.
I was
great
shocked.
Content.
Like,
That's what matters.
I went into the game like thinking like we don't got a chance. Like, honestly, and I heard like you guys were preparing like in the gym too and everything. I was like, I haven't done this in 8 years.
I honestly felt we had a chance just because I thought we had enough athletes. I know we didn't have a lot of experience.
Well, and I didn't know who you were bringing in too.
Yeah,
and I didn't know how good your friend was, and I was like, we have Van Dusen. Obviously, he's going to be in net.
Dude,
I was like,
during pregame warmups, Van Dusen couldn't block a shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy.
And I remember seeing, like, because we used to like do stuff in the gym like before that game happened, and I remember seeing that. I'm like, I have faith in you, but I was like, I'm a little nervous now.
We played really good. We were like playing Carolina Hurricanes.
That's right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
played really good defense,
Yeah, we did. It was
Like
great.
Milwaukee Brewers hockey.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Shout out Sal Frelick, man.
Right,
What a guy.
Yeah.
I wish like for me, I'm sure a lot of you too, like you talk about being out of shape. Like I was just out of shape. I didn't warm up.
Do you want to tell the people what happened on
what
the
happened
bench?
to me?
Yeah.
I think everybody knows.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
No, you don't remember.
I was just like,
But let's just say we had somebody here. Well, I'll just let this individual and another individual not here on our team had a little bit of a,
I got
situation
sick.
on the bench.
Yeah.
Oh,
A little
really?
sickness,
Yeah.
Well, 'cause I was just I
Yikes, man.
I didn't warm up. I was so pissed off myself after the game because like it was fun like doing it, but I just like it was kind of, and we won. I'm like, yeah, but I was like bittersweet because like I just couldn't give like my all like in the game. Like,
Yeah, and that's
so I was
yeah.
just like I was out of shape. I didn't warm up at all. I was on the phone with somebody. I had to do a phone call for 25 minutes. And then, at the end, I like at the end, like we were trying to hold on to the lead. I'm out there for like 5 or so minutes, which in hockey, obviously, I was just giving it my all. And then after I got just a little chicken came up on me.
That's all right.
Came up on me, but it was a really
Took
fun.
off the pod.
A lot of grit right there.
Well, honestly, I would have felt the same way if you guys didn't like name me like I guess head coach, because like I didn't play well at all. So I've also been upset, but like I had some satisfaction because like I got to like I guess lead. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But
That's so
no,
cool.
that was. I love playing football a lot, but that game I enjoyed more just because
Yeah.
that's not our sport, and it was just fun. So.
Oh yeah, and it's neat,
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun. It's
That's
just fun
something we'll
doing
never
stuff with
forget.
you guys.
Like this
Yeah.
whole thing, this whole idea. I don't know who. I think me and Nate.
Megan, you and Megan, don't you remember? Wasn't that you and Megan?
I think I thought of the idea, and then I just talked to Megan and Austin and you guys, and
Yeah, and
it
shout out
just
to
seemed
Austin for doing the commentary too. Like he did not have to, and like you said,
No.
it was
In the cold.
freezing.
And
No thanks.
he was standing there.
Yeah.
And Connor Howard was standing
Yeah.
there at the camera.
And Connor
know?
ended up joining in on the commentary.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
great.
good,
Yeah,
good.
that was
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
Oh, man.
that was a great time.
What a
and
fun time.
I think it's the bigger thing is just like doing stuff together. We're all friends and we all love being around each other, and we're all competitive, and just like just having like a game like that, it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun being with everybody.
Oh yeah. And
So we want to go back to.
and to your point, I think
this is
what a
This is
segue. Yeah, to your point, I'm at an 8 out of 10
Yes!
confidence level here that the Pens are going to take this one out of the
There
Flyers.
we go.
With all of that
Right.
being said,
With all that being said, oh yeah, we'll do the cut there. But 8 out of 10, and it should be a 10 out of 10. But I'm a little worried of like with the pod games, a little worried about overconfidence, and I think that the Pens. I don't think the Pens are gonna have that, but I don't want the fans to bleed off. Like I want the first game to be close. Please, please, please do not let us win like 8-2 in the first game. Also, I don't want to lose. Right. Definitely don't want to lose. But if we go out there and win 8-2, the Penguins are such a tone to go out there. They win the first game. Game 2, they're going to come out lollygagging and be like, yeah, we just took this team 8-2. Like, we're not going to, there's no, like, we're going to be fine. And then it starts to become closer because the Flyers are never going to quit. They could be down 3-0. They're not going to quit.
I have a gut feeling that the Flyers are going to come out looking better in the first game.
Yes.
That's just my gut feeling. When you talk about overconfidence, I haven't seen anybody in Pittsburgh media or any Penguins fans say I don't see the Penguins winning the series. Like, and maybe that's just the rivalry aspect. Probably everybody in Philadelphia feels the same way. But I think overall, the Flyers have just been more underestimated, and I think that they're going to want to make a statement early on. I'm not saying the Flyers will win Game 1, but I think the Penguins are going to have to come back.
Gotta be ready.
I think the Flyers probably take maybe a little bit of a lead. I don't know. I mean, who knows? We don't know the mindsets of these teams. And the game
no
plans,
way. But I definitely think it's going 7. Right. I don't think it's going to be a 5 or 6 game series, and I think the Pens are going to win in 7 because I think it all boils down to, now this doesn't say for every series because I know a lot of teams can win away, but the Penguins especially. They have some, gift away, and maybe we'll swap one game. Like, let's say we win Game 3, they win Game 2 or something. But I think it's really going to come down to home ice advantage as well. So,
and you have to look at it just playing a rival in a playoff series too. That changes everything. I mean,
the home ice is even more important.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll give another scenario. I mean, look a few years ago whenever the Steelers played the Browns in the playoffs. The Steelers dominated them early on in the year, and then they played all their backups and barely lost to the Browns. And everyone's like, "Oh, this is a cakewalk. They're the Browns. They're not going to win."
Right.
Obviously, they played a lot better of the game than the Steelers. So you don't want to fall into that trap where, even though you feel like you're easily the better team, you don't want to fall in that trap against a rival who is going to scout you heavier more than other teams. So you don't want to get into that, like you mentioned, thinking you're just going to win. I mean, you need to come in like you're playing the 1 seed.
100%.
The good thing about hockey is you can underestimate a team and maybe not come out and have your best day and still have a chance. It's a 7-game series.
Right.
And you can be down 2-0 in a series and then one game can change everything.
Yeah.
It's the ebbs and flows. You can't overreact to every single game either.
Yeah, I just think in the end the Pens are going to be too much. I honestly think that, but I do think, and a lot of Philly fans, I've been seeing this. A lot of Philly fans, I think this is partly the rivalry aspect, have been very talkative. 'Cause they haven't been in the playoffs in years. Now they're back in. They're like, Pittsburgh's a mid-market city. We're Philadelphia. The eyeballs are on us. Like, people are watching for us. Like, just completely dumb statements. Actually, Mark Madden had some really good lines on Twitter for going at Philly fans, but they're confident. I just don't think Philly all year has been a mid team. Like, if we're they ended what? I don't even know if they ended with a positive goal differential.
They did.
They did. Well, they were at -3, with 3 games left or whatever. So, they're I think if the Penguins play like they've been playing in the second half of the season, I think they're going to win in 6. That's my prediction. Okay. I don't think it's going to be easy. I've seen too many, even just all regular season Flyers Penguins, where the Flyers come into Pittsburgh and win. Obviously, it's going to be a playoff atmosphere. It's going to be. I'm really excited for Saturday night.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
I'm
not going to be there.
But
the
NHL made a smart decision making that the night game.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's really. That's going to get some eyeballs.
But I do think in the end the Penguins are going to be. I think they're going to steal a road game. I honestly that's my opinion. Yeah. The Penguins honestly have been better on the road than at home this season. And
really?
I think record-wise they were better, but it's different playoffs.
Ever since that Avalanche game, that 8-3 against the Avs.
Oh, and then it was the Utah game before that too. That
True.
was
yes,
because they were reeling before that, and it was now you got to go to Utah, who's going to be a playoff team. Then you go to Colorado, and they have that big comeback against Utah, and then they dominate Colorado. But I feel like. I don't know. The Pens are the better team, and I just think they're going to steal a game somewhere where it ends up being 6. If it's 7 and Carolina wins in 5 or something, and Carolina's
That's
rested.
a major advantage.
Like
Yeah.
that's a major advantage for the Hurricanes, especially with the Pens having obviously the older players at the top, even though they have a younger team.
Yeah, we're praying for Ottawa to pull off a crazy upset, 1. And 2, Philly's got to remember why they're there too. They are so unbelievably confident.
Metro disaster.
But if like the Islanders don't blow like crazy in February and March, but not only that, but if the Blue Jackets win 1, if they win 1 out of their 8 game in a row losing streak in
Holy crap.
March and April, you're not in that spot.
Yeah.
They lost 8 in a row going from
Their
March
coach,
to April.
I think whoever, I don't know what his name is, their coach, he's toast. He was
Well,
like,
they-
if I stay here next year, I'm changing the culture.
Yeah.
That sounds like a guy that's about to be fired.
Yeah, no, it sounded it was bad, but I was like they're so, like you said, I was like appalled by how confident Philly is that they're going to run through us in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I was like, I am not confident that we're going to run through you guys, but you sure as hell shouldn't be that confident.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
anybody
No
should
way.
be confident, it would be the Penguins fans
Right.
because this team has been the better team all season.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Philly, the way they had a kind of not improbable, but an unlikely run to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
For sure.
well, they weren't even like playing like all stuff. Like they didn't have to because like you mentioned, Columbus completely folded, the Islanders completely folded. They fire their coach, and it gets even worse.
It's crazy.
And the Capitals are just really weird this season.
Yeah.
Like going in because they were so good last year, and you thought, oh, they're gonna be a playoff team. You think, and they just were weird all season. So it's just the Metro was just so weak this season. But what do you think? So, what would your prediction be? Carolina, Pittsburgh, assuming the Penguins and the Carolina Hurricanes advance.
I think the Pens would obviously have a lot of mojo going into the second round, but like you said, you got a lot of older guys, and if Carolina can, it depends on how Carolina does. If Carolina takes this to 7 and wins, and we, because it's about rest. You know what I mean? You need rest before the second series, and if Carolina wins in 4, they win in 5, they have a long rest, I think Carolina beats us, and I think we'll definitely be able to squeak a game or two, right? Because we've been super, super close this year, and obviously it's 5-on-5. We talked about that. I think we'll be able to squeak a game in 2, but I think we lose in 5 or 6. Now, if Carolina goes to 7 or 6 maybe, and they're tired and they're ending on May 1st or May 3rd, like it's supposed to end, the second round's supposed to start, on like May 3rd or whatever, then I think the Penguins win 2 or 3 games and either lose in 6, or if we make it to 7, I think the Penguins win in 7. And that's only because I think it's just we shouldn't be there.
And the pressure on Carolina.
And the pressure would be insane. And we've seen how it is with pressure in Carolina. They barely make it out of the second round, and then they fold completely in the third. So it's like, if we can somehow, if the first round takes forever, and then, let's say we win game 1 in Carolina, it's a complete series change. But if Carolina beats Ottawa in 5, I have almost like a little hope that the Penguins are going to really make a run in the second round. Sadly, but true.
What are your thoughts on? I talked with Shermito just a little bit about this, but what are your thoughts on the NHL's like playoff format? Because technically, the Penguins luck out, with this kind of divisional rivalry kind of thing where they play Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the Atlantic, which had the better teams this season, is going at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? And then the Atlantic gets the wild card spots as well because they were better. What are your thoughts on kind of the structure instead of just being like 1 through 8 going at? Because if it was 1 through 8, it would be a lot tougher for the Pens in the first round.
I obviously biased. I like it.
Yeah.
I also think it's neat that, okay, the Pens were able to go into those overtime games, or they were able to get that extra point, and that's the whole point system. I think if you switch it to a 1 through 8, you got to switch the point system, because then that changes everything. Because the only reason that the Penguins are in the playoffs right now is because we were able to make it to overtime, or we're able to make it in the shootout, not even lose, but just get that extra point. We saw it with the Kings. The Kings, I think, had 24 regulation wins.
Yeah, they just had a lot of overtime losses, right?
Yeah, the fact that they were able to get that extra point. So I love it. I think it's good because it gives everyone a chance to be able to take a shot at the Stanley Cup. And a 1 through 8, I think we'll see a lot of the same, especially from each. I think we'll see a lot of the same 8 teams.
Well, I think what it makes I think the series overall could be more competitive and more there's more of a rivalry aspect when you're playing teams in your own division.
Like, no one wants to watch a 1-8 game, like a 1-8 series. No, I don't want to see
probably
that.
Because in the 1 seed and the 8 seed, probably it's more likely that they're not as familiar with each other as, I don't know.
A 4 and 5 or something of that nature. Yeah.
Right. So I like that the division. There's always those divisional matchups. I like that. I think that's good. I do think. I guess you could make the same argument for the NBA. Every series being 7 games, is it too long?
No. I love it. I think it's the greatest thing in all of sports, and I wish baseball did it because I understand baseball's like best of 3, best of 5, 7 and 7, right? Am I correct on that?
You are.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Heck yeah. But if we saw it in like 2020, 2021 where they were in the bubble and stuff and they had the play-in rounds of best out of 3, it was all based on luck. I mean, Montreal Montreal was able to get through Pittsburgh. The Islanders got lucky in double overtime when Jari just gave it away, and that's because they barely squeaked through game 1, and they barely did. But if you have 7 games to be able to make from your mistakes, and I think it's obviously it's a beatdown, right? It's 2 months. The playoffs are 2 months, which is crazy. But if it's not 7 games, then I don't think it gets as much hype or it's as exciting or as less. I think if it's like best out of 3, best out of 5, and then maybe 7, I think it's way more predictable. And I think on a fan perspective, it's not as fun. And I think the players enjoy it too because they're able to make from their mistakes. Like, okay, we're not out of this. If you're playing a best out of 1 or a best out of 5, you really got to hunker down. I think that prevents more injuries too as well, which we saw in 2020, 2021 is because they're feeling more forced to make plays that you can lay back a little more in a 7-game series.
So
I wanted to. I don't know if you're going to ask the same thing. I want to know, in your bracket that you truly believe in.
Yes.
Who are your final 4 teams? Who do you have advancing?
Let me pick this up. I want to get it right because I've done like 3.
Who are your sleeper? Maybe there's a team that no one's really talking about.
Okay, yeah.
That you think is going to make a run, and don't say the Penguins.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I have the Pens losing in
Broadcast.
2 from this broadcast. Oh my gosh, from this bracket. I have the Pens losing in 2. Man, this is tricky. I have the Oilers getting out of the second round. I don't think the Oilers are going to make a run. I know a lot of people are like, how would you bet against Connor McDavid? I am, sorry. I think John Tortorella.
That Stuart Skinner trade I've been an Oilers guy because I love McDavid. I love Stuart Skinner. And that trade, I'm like, what is this franchise doing?
That was the turning point for me
that's
believing in
a bad
Dubas.
omen.
And honestly, that was like the turning point for me because I was like, I don't know what he's doing.
But that's a horrible omen for Edmonton. I'm like, what are we doing? You're wasting Connor McDavid. Like, that's just...
Yeah, I think McDavid's going to be out of there, and that's why they only signed him for 2 years. McDavid's going to be out of there. There's no way he stays, especially if he doesn't win a cup. If he doesn't win a cup in the next 2 years, he will be on a different team.
Wow.
Mark it, sign my name, ding, right there. But I think Edmonton's going to lose in the second round to John Tortorella's Vegas Golden Knights. That team is just unstoppable. And my top 4 is going to be, it is Dallas and then Vegas. They're going to play to go in the final.
Oh, wow.
I have that.
Wow.
And I have Tampa and Carolina.
I think I have the same 4.
Okay.
Wow.
I have now tricky because at first this morning I was like, okay, Vegas is going to beat Carolina, but I don't see Vegas winning a cup.
You have Vegas beating Dallas.
I have Vegas beating Dallas, which is crazy.
Tortorella.
Which is
crazy.
crazy.
I love it. I couldn't even do that.
See, that's the thing. Dallas is so good, but they in a long stretch, I don't see it. I don't see it in a long stretch, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, dude, what the heck, man? Like that's weird, and I agree, it's weird. But
Vegas has been there, done that.
I think Vegas. I think Vegas would take over Dallas. I think they're 2-1 in a season series this year, maybe 3-1, and Dallas is gonna be really good. So if Dallas beats Vegas, or if they even get to that scenario, then I'll whatever. It happens. I'm not surprised. But in my opinion, I think it's gonna be Vegas and Carolina because I think this is the year that Carolina finally gets past that hump in the third round, unless they do long series because they can't play a longevity game. But if they're able to get through the first and second round relatively rapidly, then I think they're going to go all the way, and I think Carolina is going to take the cup over Vegas. Because if they're going to go to the cup final, it's going to be their year. But that's my opinion.
I don't know anything about Dallas, really. I know a little bit about Carolina from watching them, but I feel like Carolina and Dallas have both had consistently good teams.
Yes.
And
Coming up
I
short.
feel like this is the year, like, both of them, one of them makes it and wins it all.
The only reason I don't have Dallas really going to the finals, obviously Vegas has been there,
And
done
Dallas
that.
has one of the best goalies in the game.
Yeah, Jake
That's
Ottinger
another
is
thing
just
I
an
really
absolute
like.
stud. And Vegas, that's one of the things that tricks me about Vegas is their goaltending. But yeah, Jake Ottinger is just an absolute wagon. Not only that, but the thing is with Dallas, and why I just don't believe him, is they spend too much money on their veterans. Like Jamie Benn is not all that. I understand you want to be on the team, but don't give him $12 million.
Him and Sagan have been there for so long.
I think Sagan's getting like 8.5, and I think Ben's getting 10 to 12 million. I go, you could spread that among in hockey. You could spread that among 4 or 5 players who are really going to do something
feels
for
like
you.
they're top heavy.
Right, and now because of that, Jason Robertson, they don't have enough money to re-sign him, and Robertson's going to be out of the Stars picture next year.
Oh wow!
So that's why the
They
Pens
just
are looking
traded
at him.
for him, right?
No,
Robertson?
Jason Robertson's a star.
He's a homegrown.
Why
Yeah.
did I keep hearing that he was going to be traded? Or am I thinking of somebody
in the future?
else?
In the future.
Okay.
Or like that's why they keep spending money on their veterans who are not really doing all that. And instead of giving Robertson the money that he deserves as an absolute stud, he's like 26 years old or
face of
something.
that team right
Yeah,
now.
100%. Him and Ottinger. And now you focus on, we got to keep the fans happy because you can't get rid of Tyler Seguin, like the Geno thing. But now you can't give a generational talent his money and you lose him and they're just starting from zero. So it's going to be really tricky to see.
So maybe this is they got like the pressure's
Yeah.
on.
And pressure's really on for them this year, and I just don't know if they'll be able to hold up to it.
Well, I think Dallas. I've always you've been like an Edmonton. I've been like a Dallas guy, like in the playoffs for years, because I don't know, there's just something about them. And I've always loved I just always think they're like they should go farther, and they always come up short. But it'll be interesting if both teams win that. We keep seeing it early because of this kind of divisional Colorado versus Dallas, and so and Dallas has gotten the advantage over Colorado recently. That'll be interesting because Colorado was far and away the best team the first half of the season. Then they kind of fell, back to the pack in the second half. Do you think Dallas has the edge over Colorado in that series?
Yeah. I learned my lesson last year to not trust the President's Trophy team. And
that's true.
Colorado is, I mean, they got a really good squad, like they do. In the last month or so, they really haven't been putting up the same points. They haven't been putting up the same numbers that they have in, let's say, January, February. I want to say March and April, they really kind of fell off a cliff. And I know they won some games, but not enough to convince me that they're a cup-winning team. And I think Dallas is going to to be coming in with more momentum. And that atmosphere, oh my gosh, like the green out every single game.
That's
a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Green,
Dallas
that's great.
Stars, Dallas, Stars. They love it. And it's a blast. I love watching it.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of pressure on your back being the best team in the NHL going to the playoffs. And if they beat Dallas, I just don't think they're going to win the cup. So, but I think Dallas is definitely going to have the edge.
Well, either way, too, talking about the Central, if you're Dallas, if you beat Minnesota, Minnesota's a really good team. Colorado, they play the Kings, they'll sleep. But, Colorado, whoever wins that, they've played, really tough series already. Whereas a Vegas, they play an Edmonton, they play, some of these Pacific teams who really, the Pacific was a joke this year. I mean, it really was.
Absolute pillow fight.
It was ridiculous. And then, Tortorella should have been hired months before. Vegas would have ran away with that division.
I found it really interesting. And Nate says, it's more common than you think, Peyton. But the Islanders, who were in the mix for the playoffs, and obviously Vegas in the mix for the playoffs, fire their coaches
Crazy.
Yeah.
2 weeks or whatever before the
I
season
think it was
ends.
4 games.
I'm like, what?
Well, I was
This
saying
is
that
crazy.
because in the NBA, you'll see that in the NBA where the Nuggets last year they bring in they fire Malone and then they bring in what's his name and then they do better. Sometimes it happens, but yeah.
But for Vegas to bring in somebody with such great, coaching experience like a John Tortorella is just the fact that he was just sitting there for them. That was just wow. I mean, that's just.
He hasn't been the greatest recent. I mean, there's
But he's a very
I love his
well-respected
mindset.
coach.
Yeah,
And he's one of the most fun guys to to listen in a press conference. That's why I love him. He's just fiery. I mean, when your team's kind of in a lull, like to bring in a guy like that just as soon as you're going into the playoff, that seems like such a great thing.
He's a playoff coach too. He's a playoff coach, and
that's what you want.
It's so much fun to listen to him.
Well, anything else, guys? You have anything else to add?
No,
we might be getting kicked out.
Just
here.
real quickly, Peyton, you'll like this. One of my coaches growing up, Mike Rupp. I don't know if you know Mike Rupp. He used to play for the Penguins and the Devils and stuff
He
like
calls
that.
some Pens games
He was
sometimes.
Oh, nice.
He's super nice guy, awesome. His coach used to be John Tortorella. And a quick story about it, he used to say that, everyone hated John Tortorella. He is one of the greatest coaches that Mike Rupp ever had. And Mike, he told me, he's like, I love John, great guy. It's just, you weren't his friend, but he was one hell of a coach. And he was by far, like, if you had to pick any coach that he'd want John. And he said a lot.
Yeah,
100%. So yeah, crazy. I mean, a lot of people think, he's mean, he's too nasty, you don't want him. A lot of the players love him. He gets it done.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to episode 70, a special episode with Ryan Jones. Ryan, thank you for coming on again.
Yeah,
this was a
thank you
great
guys so
episode.
much.
One of my favorite episodes in a while.
Yeah, we had a lot of, it was a lot
absolutely.
of fun. We went in a lot of different directions, a lot of great directions, and getting your expertise on the Pens and on hockey was great.
That was awesome.
And it's going to be really exciting, the playoffs. It always is every year.
Great to have it back in Pittsburgh.
What I was going to say earlier was the difference between like an NBA, like the 7 games each round, and the NHL is the NBA has those blowouts. They'll have 1-8 as a blowout.
Yeah.
You don't need a 7-game series for that. Whereas the NHL, you'll get upsets. You'll get really competitive series, even with the President's Trophy winner and a team that had 94 points.
Right.
You know, so that's why I think hockey kind of stands out in that regard as having those 7-game series. It's going to be a ton of fun from the jump. It's that atmosphere, that intensity that you just don't see really in other leagues. So,
Amen. It's
thank
gonna be
you
awesome.
thank you for coming on again, Ryan.
Thank
we had
you
a great
guys so
time.
much. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to We Are Family episode 70. Make sure you like our content, subscribe to our channel, subsbe to Have a Shift Day.
Check out
Follow
the bracket
them.
challenge.
Check out their bracket challenge. We always love how they do it over there on the whiteboard and everything. And I'm sure Megan's getting that all spruced up here now. So make sure you check that out. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.